Pressure doesn't destroy you, it reveals you. That single truth holds the power to change everything about how you live your life. Most people run from pressure, thinking it is the enemy, when in reality it is the hidden sculptor of strength. Pressure is what turns ordinary carbon into diamonds. It is the unseen force that transforms weakness into resilience, fear into courage, and hesitation into bold action. Life is not gentle with any of us. It is full of demands, responsibilities, and problems that arrive without asking permission. Some days it feels like the weight of the world is pressing against your chest. You wake up already tired, already worried, already questioning whether you can carry what is waiting for you. That is pressure. And while it feels heavy, it is not here to crush you. It is here to uncover the strongest version of you. Think about your own story. You've already faced moments that you thought would break you. Times when the odds seemed impossible, when the pain was unbearable, when every thought in your head whispered that you couldn't survive another day. And yet, you did survive. You didn't just crawl through. You walked out stronger, sharper, and more capable. That is what pressure does. It forces out a strength you didn't even know existed. The biggest mistake people make is believing pressure is something to be avoided. They think life is supposed to be comfortable, smooth, and easy. But comfort does not build anything lasting. Growth requires resistance. Strength requires weight. Muscles grow only when they are pushed beyond their limits. The mind works exactly the same way. If you never put it under pressure, you will never discover how sharp, disciplined, and resilient it can become. Every single day, life gives you small doses of pressure. Deadlines, responsibilities, conversations you don't want to have, bills you don't know how to pay, problems that appear out of nowhere. These are not there to destroy you. They are there to shape you. They are invitations to step into a higher version of yourself. Pressure is not your enemy. Avoidance is, because when you avoid pressure, you avoid growth. When you choose comfort over responsibility, you choose to stay small. When you escape difficulty instead of facing it, you rob yourself of the chance to build inner power. This is the truth. Pressure is proof that you are alive, that you are being called into more. When you feel the weight of responsibility on your shoulders, when expectations from family, society, or even yourself feel unbearable, that is life saying to you, you are stronger than you think. You are capable of more than you believe. You don't discover your true strength when life is easy. You discover it when you feel like quitting but choose to keep moving. You find it when everything screams at you to give up, and yet you breathe deep and take one more step. That is where the real you shows up. A student studying for an exam doesn't focus because they want to, they focus because pressure demands it. An athlete doesn't run every day because it's fun. They run because the race is coming and the pressure of that day keeps them disciplined. Pressure pulls seriousness out of us. It forces us to care, to prepare, to sharpen our focus, and to give our best. But there is a difference between pressure and stress. Pressure is healthy when you embrace it. Stress is what happens when you resist it. Stress whispers, "Why me? Why now? This isn't fair." Stress makes the weight feel unbearable. But when you shift your inner dialogue and say, "This is my chance to grow stronger. This is my invitation to rise higher," suddenly the pressure is no longer against you. It is for you. Pressure is also the most honest mirror. It shows you who you are and where you are weak. If pressure reveals that your patience is thin, it is teaching you where to grow. If it reveals that your focus slips too easily, it is pointing to the area where discipline must be built. Pressure tells the truth no book or lecture could ever reveal. It exposes your cracks so you can strengthen them. And here's the incredible part. The more you face daily pressure, the less frightening it becomes. What once overwhelmed you starts to feel normal. What once broke you becomes manageable. Over time, your capacity expands. Just like lifting weights at the gym, what once felt impossible eventually feels light. Yet most people wait. They wait for life to get easier. They hope pressure will disappear. But here is the reality. Life is not designed to get easier. It is designed to call you higher. If the pressure in your life is increasing, it's because your capacity is ready to grow. You are being invited to carry more, to handle more, to become more. So how do you embrace pressure in a way that makes you stronger instead of weaker? The first step is acceptance. Stop running. Stop complaining. Simply admit, yes, this is hard, but I can face it. Acceptance puts you back in control. Second, break the weight down into steps. The mountain feels impossible until you take the first step. Don't look at everything at once. Handle one piece at a time. Win the small battles and let those wins build momentum. Third, remember what you've already survived. Think about the last time you thought it was over, but it wasn't. You made it through. That memory is proof. If you did it once, you can do it again. Fourth, choose your environment wisely. The voices around you matter when you're under pressure. Surround yourself with people who push you to grow, not people who feed your fear. And finally, master your inner dialogue. Pressure will always trigger a voice inside your head. One voice will say, "This will crush me." The other voice will say, "This is my opportunity to rise." Which voice you choose will determine whether pressure breaks you or builds you. Pressure also clarifies priorities. When life presses down, you stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. Trivial distractions fall away. You suddenly see what is truly important: your health, your family, your mission, your values. Pressure slices through the noise and shows you where to focus. It builds resilience too. Every time you handle pressure, another layer of resilience is added to your character. And resilience is priceless. It's the quiet confidence that no matter what comes, you can handle it. That is the mindset that transforms fear into calm, uncertainty into clarity, and weight into power. So the next time you wake up and feel the heaviness pressing against you, remind yourself, this is not the end of you. This is the beginning of your strength. Pressure is not here to destroy you. It is here to shape you. Do not shrink. Do not run. Stand tall. Take a deep breath and step forward. Because the more pressure you embrace, the more strength you unlock. And one day, you will look back and realize that the very things you thought would break you were the things that built you into someone unstoppable. Hard moments don't just interrupt life. They edit it. They cut out the excess, strip the noise, and leave you face to face with what truly matters. When plans fall apart, when the call you feared finally comes, when disappointment lands like a punch to the chest, your mind wants to scatter. But if you pay attention, the same moment that shakes you can also sharpen you. Pressure can be the spotlight that illuminates your next right move. Clarity isn't born in comfort. Comfort makes you soft around the edges. It lets you drift. It invites distractions to masquerade as priorities. Only when the ground shifts under your feet do you suddenly see which parts of your life were solid and which were sand. Pain removes illusions. It exposes weak commitments, shallow goals, and borrowed dreams. It asks a brutal, beautiful question. What do you actually care about? Think back to a season that tested you. Maybe work collapsed when you needed stability most. Maybe someone you trusted let you down. Maybe life demanded an answer you didn't have. At first, everything inside you tightened. You wanted to retreat, to argue with reality, to wish the pressure away. But as days passed and emotions cooled, something else emerged. A clearer picture. You saw what was essential and you saw what needed to go. The fog didn't lift in a flash. It thinned because you kept walking. Here's the paradox. What feels like breakdown can become breakthrough if you let difficulty do its work. When the storm hits, the mind instinctively narrows focus. This is biology helping you survive. Use that narrow beam like a laser. Instead of trying to solve your whole life in one night, point that beam at one decision, one habit, one conversation. Clarity grows when you reduce complexity into the next necessary action. A life without hard moments is a life without edges. Edges are where direction forms. Pressure draws a line between nice to have and non-negotiable. It forces you to choose. Without that force, people waste years in half commitments. Half in on health, half in on craft, half in on relationships, half in on their future. Pressure refuses that luxury. It demands, pick. And when you pick, your energy stops leaking into a dozen directions and starts moving like a river in one. Clarity isn't the same as certainty. Certainty is pretending you know the whole map. Clarity is knowing your compass is right. Certainty says, I can see the finish. Clarity says, I can see the next step, and that's enough to begin. People wait for certainty and waste their lives. The ones who move with clarity build momentum, and momentum reveals paths you could never spot from a standstill. When the weight is heavy, remember, the mind loves questions that shrink problems to size. Try these. What matters most for the next 24 hours? What, if done today, would reduce 50% of my anxiety tomorrow? Which one commitment, honored daily for 30 days, would change the trajectory of this situation? If I could only keep 3 responsibilities this month, which 3 would remain? The moment you answer, you've cut clutter. You've shifted from blurry to sharp. Use the clarity triage. Purpose, people, process. Purpose. Why am I doing this at all? Pressure exposes whether your goals are borrowed from culture or rooted in conviction. If your why collapses under weight, it wasn't a why. It was a wish. Strengthen it. Rewrite it in language that moves you to act, not just nod. People. Who is inside the circle when it storms? Pressure identifies anchors and drains. Anchors steady you, challenge you, tell you the truth without crushing your spirit. Drains consume time, amplify panic, and add fog. Choose anchors. Limit drains. Your future depends on who stands near you when visibility is low. Process. What is the repeatable rhythm that converts stress into movement? Pressure despises random effort. It rewards ritual. Mornings that begin with stillness, lists that prioritize by impact, blocks of deep work without distraction. These become rails that keep your train moving even when conditions are rough. Hard moments demand focus hygiene. This means you protect your inputs with the same intensity you guard your energy. You don't wake to chaos. You don't negotiate with your phone before you've negotiated with your purpose. You don't scroll your way into someone else's agenda. You set the agenda. You define the 3 wins for the day. You lock 1 block for deep work. You reserve 1 block for movement. You end the day by reviewing what mattered and shedding what didn't. Pressure exposes fragile priorities. If you say family matters but you're never fully with them, pressure will show you the gap. If you say health matters but your routines say otherwise, pressure will show you the bill. If you say mastery matters but you never practice, pressure will hold up the mirror. This is not cruelty, it's mercy disguised as discomfort. It gives you the information you need to live aligned. Clarity grows when you embrace constraints. You don't need unlimited time to focus. You need a boundary that forces you to choose. Give yourself a 50-minute window for the task that scares you, an evening with your phone in another room, a week where spending is tracked to the rupee, a month where you commit to 12 workouts no matter what. Constraints are not cages. They're channels. Rivers run faster and further when banks are set. Use the 1-move rule. Under pressure, the brain overcomplicates. It fantasizes about the perfect plan and then suffocates under its own expectations. Instead, ask, what's 1 move that guarantees I'll be better positioned tomorrow than I am today? Send the email. Make the call. Learn the skill for 30 minutes. Clean the desk. Build the simplest version. The 1-move rule, repeated, compounds into clarity. When disappointment hits, resist the reflex to label it failure. Label it feedback and extract signal. What assumption did this outcome disprove? Which skill gap did it reveal? What process broke? And how do I reinforce it? What did I fear most? And did it actually happen? What would I do differently in the next attempt with the same resources? Write the answers. Not in your head, on paper. Unwritten lessons evaporate. Written lessons become systems. There's a form of clarity only pain can deliver. Value clarity. You discover how much honesty actually matters when lying would be easier. You discover how much patience actually matters when everything inside you wants to rush. You discover how much courage actually matters when silence would keep you safe. Each test carves grooves into character, making your values instinct, not slogans. Don't confuse speed with direction. Pressure can make you frantic. Frantic feels like progress until you realize you ran in circles for 3 weeks. Direction is better than pace. A slow step in the right direction is more valuable than a sprint into nowhere. Ask often, is this action aligned with my true aim, or is it an emotional escape disguised as productivity? Build a clarity reset ritual. Breathe. 10 deep breaths to disrupt panic. Name. State the situation in one honest sentence without drama. Narrow. Identify the single most important outcome for the next 24 hours. Design. Block 90 to 120 minutes for the one action that moves that outcome forward. Debrief. End the day with 3 lines: what worked, what didn't, what's tomorrow's first move. Repeat this for 7 days under pressure and you'll feel your mind sharpening like a blade. Hard moments are also the birthplace of strategic quitting. Quitting isn't always weakness. Sometimes it's wisdom. The right quit creates space for the right commitment. Quit the metric that doesn't matter. Quit the meeting that never decides. Quit the perfection that keeps you from shipping. Quit the performance of pretending you're okay when you need help. Clarity grows when you stop watering what you don't want to harvest. Guard your language. Words are steering wheels. I'm overwhelmed tells your brain to flood you. This is a lot, but it's handleable in steps, tells your brain to search for steps. I don't know what to do freezes options. I don't know yet, but I know how to find out unlocks curiosity. Under pressure, vocabulary becomes architecture. You build rooms you can breathe in or cages you can't escape. Clarity loves evidence. Track what you want to multiply. Minutes of deep work. Pages read. Workouts completed. Rupees saved. Calls made. Attempts shipped. When the mind doubts, the log speaks. When emotions say you're stuck, the numbers say you're moving. Evidence is how you stay sane inside storms. There's an emotional clarity too. What truly nourishes you becomes obvious when life hurts. It isn't status. It isn't applause. It isn't buying what you don't need to impress people you don't like. Nourishment looks like meaningful work, unhurried conversations with the people you love, the quiet of a morning routine, the dignity of promises kept to yourself. Pressure rearranges your appetite. You start craving what sustains, not what distracts. Expect resistance from the old you. The part of you addicted to noise will beg for one more scroll. The part of you addicted to approval will want to say yes to everything. The part of you addicted to comfort will ask for shortcuts. Recognize those voices as habits, not commandments. Thank them for trying to keep you safe. Then act according to your new clarity. When the storm is loud, choose single-thread focus. Multitasking is a lie we tell ourselves to feel productive while avoiding depth. Under pressure, depth is your advantage. One thread, pulled with patience, unravels knots that speed could never touch. Give full attention to one problem until it yields. Then move to the next. You'll do less at once and accomplish more that counts. If the future feels blurred, shorten your horizon. Live in 24-hour excellence cycles. Stack 7 excellent days, then review. Pressure makes the long game feel impossible. The daily game is always within reach. Compounded dailies become direction. Direction becomes destiny. Don't waste your suffering. When you learn under pressure, teach it. Journal the process. Share the framework. Help someone a few steps behind. Teaching turns private clarity into public contribution and locks the lesson into your identity. You become the kind of person who transforms struggle into structure, for yourself and for others. Remember, clarity is not a one-time event. It's maintenance. Just as a windshield needs regular wiping in rain, your mind needs regular clearing in life. The rain may not stop, but you can keep the view. Routines are your wipers. Reflection is your washer fluid. Perspective is your defogger. Keep them working and you can drive through almost anything. And here is the quiet promise you discover only after you practice. Hard moments that once unmade you will become the moments that most define you. Not because they were pleasant, but because they were honest. They forced you to choose, to focus, to act. They pulled out of you a seriousness that comfort never could. They taught you to aim your life instead of drifting through it. So when the message arrives you didn't want, when the plan collapses you thought you needed, when the weight feels like too much, pause. Breathe. Narrow. One step. Then another. Let the storm do its work on you, not to you. Let it strip what's false and strengthen what's true. Let it turn you into someone who can see clearly in weather that blinds most people. Because the ones who change their lives are not the ones who never face pressure. They are the ones who learn to use it, who turn hard moments into sharp focus, who turn noise into signal, who turn overwhelm into ordered steps. That is how you move forward when the world tilts. That is how you hold your direction when the ground shakes. That is how you build a mind that stays calm, a heart that stays steady, and a life that moves with purpose, especially when it's hard. Discipline is not forged in comfort. It is born in the fire of pressure. Anyone can dream of waking up early, eating clean, working with focus, saving money, or learning new skills. But dreams are fragile in easy seasons. They break at the first touch of distraction. Pressure, on the other hand, forces you to act. It demands a response. And when you respond with structure instead of excuses, you begin building daily routines that last. Most people don't lack knowledge. They know what they should be doing. They lack the push that forces them to do it consistently. That push is pressure. It shines a light on your habits with merciless honesty. It makes you see that drifting will cost you, that laziness has a bill, and that time wasted today is a regret waiting for you tomorrow. Pressure is not cruel, it is corrective. It says, if you don't get serious now, you'll pay later. Think about money. The pressure of overdue bills has changed more lives than motivational speeches ever could. A family staring at debt doesn't keep scrolling mindlessly. They start tracking expenses, cutting waste, and finding ways to earn more. It feels forced at first. Feels like survival. But after weeks, that forced structure becomes a rhythm. And rhythm hardens into habit. Soon the routine of budgeting and earning isn't just a reaction. It becomes their new identity. The same is true for health. A doctor's warning, a scare, a diagnosis. These pressures often spark discipline. Someone who never cared about nutrition starts walking every morning, drinking water, respecting rest. At first it's clumsy and tiring, but repetition carves grooves into behavior. Months later, those routines feel natural. Pressure opened the door, discipline built the frame, and consistency filled the house. Without pressure, discipline rarely survives. Motivation fades. Excitement evaporates. The only thing that sustains you long-term is routine, actions that happen whether or not you feel like doing them. Pressure is what helps you set those routines in stone. Here's the truth. Pressure teaches you that you cannot afford to be casual with your time. It exposes the illusion that you can wait for later. Later doesn't come. Later is where dreams go to die. The clock is ticking now. The bill is due now. The opportunity is expiring now. That urgency, if embraced, becomes the spark of discipline. Pressure also kills excuses. Comfort breeds rationalizations. I'll start tomorrow. I don't have enough resources. It's too hard right now. But when pressure tightens, those excuses sound ridiculous. You either move or collapse. And once you move, you realize movement was always possible. You just hadn't been pressed hard enough to see it. Routines created under pressure are not glamorous. They're simple, repeatable, almost boring. But they work. Waking up at the same time every day. Setting non-negotiables for health. Blocking time for focused work. Saving a percentage of every paycheck. Reading before bed. Practicing gratitude. These are not flashy actions, but when repeated under the weight of pressure, they form an unshakable foundation. Discipline is self-respect in action. It is you saying, I value my future enough to act today. And nothing awakens that self-respect faster than pressure. Pressure whispers, if you keep living carelessly, you'll lose more than you can handle. When you listen, you stop being casual. You start being intentional. Think about athletes. Training isn't built on feelings, it's built on schedules. Rain or shine, tired or energized, they show up. Why? Because competition day is coming. The pressure of that date hardens their routines. That same principle applies to your life. If you set stakes and deadlines, you create pressure, and that pressure builds discipline. Here's the secret. Discipline isn't about giant leaps. It's about small acts done consistently, especially under weight. Waking up when you said you would. Writing the page you promised yourself. Honoring the commitment you made. Each small act is a vote for the disciplined version of yourself. Enough votes and discipline becomes identity. Another gift of pressure is that it simplifies decisions. When life feels easy, you waste energy debating. Should I work out or not? Should I save or spend? Should I focus or procrastinate? But when pressure rises, those choices disappear. You stop asking whether, you just do it. That is the power of routines under pressure. They reduce decision fatigue. You free your mind for what truly matters. Pressure also sharpens your awareness of time. Suddenly, you realize hours are not infinite. You stop treating days like disposable paper. You begin to treasure mornings, protect evenings, and guard hours you once wasted. You become ruthless about priorities. That awareness is what locks in discipline. Discipline under pressure builds momentum. First, it's hard. Waking up earlier hurts. Sticking to structure feels unnatural. But once the wheel is moving, pressure fuels the spin. Momentum kicks in. What felt forced now flows. Pressure gave the push. Discipline kept the rhythm. Momentum made it easier. And here's the beautiful paradox. Routines created under pressure give you more freedom, not less. People think discipline is a prison. In truth, it's the key to escape. When your routines are solid, chaos doesn't own you. Temptations lose power. Distractions fade. You gain freedom of mind, freedom of focus, freedom to actually build the life you want. But this only happens if you stop seeing pressure as punishment and start seeing it as partnership. It is here to wake you up, not tear you down. It is here to demand structure, not chaos. It is here to turn careless wishes into disciplined routines. So when the pressure feels heavy, don't fight it. Use it. Ask yourself, what routine is this moment calling me to build? How can I convert this discomfort into structure? Which small actions, if protected daily, would transform my future? Then begin. Small, simple, daily. Protect those actions fiercely. And every time you honor a routine under pressure, remind yourself, this is not just survival. This is foundation. You are building the architecture of a life that cannot be shaken. And one day, you'll look back at the very pressure you once feared and realize, it was the teacher that gave you discipline, the sculptor that shaped your strength, and the fire that built a routine strong enough to carry you through anything. Stress is often misunderstood. People think it is always negative, always a sign that something is wrong. But here is the truth. Emotional stress is not the enemy. It is a signal. It is your mind and body alerting you that something important requires your attention. If you learn how to read that signal instead of running from it, stress can become the very tool that builds resilience. Resilience is the ability to bend without breaking, to stay steady when life tilts, to recover faster each time pressure strikes. And resilience is not something you're born with, it is something you grow. How? By converting emotional stress into strength. Every stressful moment is a training session for your mind. The same way lifting heavy weights strengthens your muscles, handling stress with awareness strengthens your mental and emotional core. The problem is not stress itself. The problem is how people carry it. Most people absorb stress like a sponge, soaking up negativity, replaying painful conversations, obsessing over what could go wrong, and letting their minds spiral. This doesn't build resilience. It breaks it. But there is another way. You can take the energy of stress and channel it into growth. The first step is awareness. Too many people live in reaction mode, snapping at others, shutting down, or distracting themselves with noise. But resilience begins with catching yourself in the moment. When your heart races, when your breath shortens, when your emotions rise, that's the signal. Instead of spiraling, pause, breathe, say to yourself, this is stress. It is here. It is real. But it does not control me. That pause is power. Create space for choice. Once you have awareness, you can convert stress into fuel. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what can I do with this? That single shift changes everything. Stress becomes energy for action. If you're stressed about deadlines, let that tension sharpen your focus. If you're stressed about finances, let it push you to learn, save, or earn with more urgency. If you're stressed about relationships, let it push you to communicate more clearly, to listen more deeply, to choose patience over anger. Stress doesn't have to drain you, can drive you. Perspective also transforms stress. Stress magnifies problems, making them feel bigger than they are. But resilience grows when you zoom out. Ask, will this matter in a month? In a year? What can I learn here? Suddenly, the storm shrinks to its true size. It is no longer the end of the world. It is a challenge to be managed. Perspective turns panic into strategy. Stress also teaches patience. Much of stress comes from wanting life to move faster than it does. We want results now, answers now, relief now. But life moves in seasons. Growth cannot be rushed. Resilience is born when you accept the process, when you learn to wait without breaking, to stay steady when outcomes are delayed. Patience is not weakness. It is strength under control. Another gift of stress is emotional training. Stress tempts you to lash out, to complain, or to shut down. But when you choose calm words instead of anger, problem solving instead of blaming, steady steps instead of retreat, you build inner strength. Each time you handle emotions differently, you prove to yourself that feelings don't own you, you own your response. Physical practices help too, because the body and mind are connected. Stress doesn't just sit in the mind. It settles in the body. Tight shoulders, shallow breathing, restless energy. That's why moving your body, breathing deeply, exercising, meditating, journaling, or even taking a walk outdoors can shift everything. When the body resets, the mind follows. Daily practices like these become resilience workouts. The more you do them, the stronger your baseline becomes. Connection is another anchor. Stress often isolates people. They feel like they're the only ones carrying the load. But resilience grows when you talk about what you're feeling. Share with trusted friends, mentors, or family. When you speak it, the weight reduces. When you listen to others, you realize you're not alone. Connection doesn't erase the storm, but it builds beams that hold you steady under it. Failure, too, can become resilience fuel if you frame it correctly. Many people treat failure as evidence they aren't good enough. But resilient people see failure as feedback. Stress often follows failure because disappointment hurts. But if you ask, what lesson is hidden here? You gain clarity. You see failure not as an ending, but as information. That mindset transforms setbacks into stepping stones. Gratitude is another hidden weapon. It feels unnatural to practice gratitude when life is stressful, but that is exactly when it is most powerful. Gratitude shifts your focus. Instead of being consumed by what's wrong, you remind yourself of what's still good. Even in dark seasons, there is something left to hold on to. A friend who cares, an opportunity ahead, a lesson learned. Gratitude doesn't remove stress, but it balances it with hope. And hope is fuel. One of the most overlooked aspects of resilience is self-compassion. When people are stressed, they often attack themselves. I should be stronger. I shouldn't feel this way. But resilience doesn't grow through self-criticism. It grows through self-kindness. Encourage yourself as you would encourage a friend. Tell yourself, it's okay to feel this, but I can keep moving anyway. That balance of compassion and determination prevents burnout and strengthens resolve. Stress also sharpens decision-making. Under pressure, you don't have the luxury of endless analysis. You must decide. Each time you choose under stress, you train your mind to trust itself. Over time, you become quicker, calmer, more confident. That decisiveness becomes part of your resilience. It prevents paralysis when the weight increases. Understand this. Resilience is not about eliminating stress. It is about carrying it better each time it arrives. Every stressful experience becomes a training ground. You feel it, you face it, you learn from it, and you come out stronger. Over time, what once overwhelmed you becomes something you can handle with ease. That is growth you can measure, not in comfort, but in the storms you can now endure without breaking. Resilience builds daily in small choices. Breathing instead of panicking, focusing instead of complaining, moving forward instead of quitting. These decisions look small in the moment, but they compound. Day by day, they carve out a version of you that is no longer fragile. One day you wake up and realize, the stress that used to break you now feels manageable. The problems that once scared you now sharpen you. So when emotional stress arrives, don't beg for an easier life. Build a stronger mind. Don't wish for no stress. Learn to convert it into resilience. Each hard conversation, each setback, each delay is a chance to train. Use it. Let it bend you but not break you. Let it stretch you but not shatter you. Because in the end, resilience isn't about living without stress. It's about walking into the future knowing, whatever comes, I can handle it. That is freedom. That is power. That is what makes you unshakable. There is a moment in every life when you realize the limits you thought you had were illusions. Most people never reach that moment because they avoid it. They stay where it's comfortable, where they feel safe, where they know the outcome. But comfort is a cage. It may feel secure, but it keeps you small. You only discover your real limits when you challenge yourself under pressure. Pressure is the doorway to expansion. Pressure is that force that stretches you to the edge of what you think is possible. It shows up in difficult conversations, overwhelming responsibilities, failures that sting, and goals that scare you. It is in those moments that life whispers, here is the edge. Will you stop here, or will you push through? Most stop. A few step forward. And those few discover that their edge was only an illusion. Think of running. At the first sign of fatigue, your body screams, stop. But if you push past that discomfort, you discover a second wind, a deeper reserve of energy you didn't know existed. The same is true in work, relationships, and growth. The first wall you hit isn't the end. It's the beginning of new strength. Pressure forces you into contact with that wall, and courage helps you break through it. Avoiding pressure keeps you fragile. Every time you dodge responsibility, every time you refuse a challenge, every time you shrink back, you train yourself to believe you cannot handle more. You build walls around your life, and those walls become smaller and smaller. But when you face pressure, even trembling, even uncertain, you expand those walls outward. You prove to yourself that you are capable of more than fear suggested. That proof becomes permanent. It reshapes how you see yourself. Growth does not come from what you already know you can do. Growth comes when you step into what scares you. That presentation you avoid, that's where leadership is waiting. That conversation you fear, that's where authenticity is born. That project you think is too big, that's where mastery is hiding. Pressure is the test, but also the invitation. Some believe pressure is here to crush them. It isn't. Pressure is designed to stretch you, to test your patience, to sharpen your focus, to build your character. It is life saying, you're ready for more. Let me show you. Without that stretch, you remain smaller than you're meant to be. Challenging yourself under pressure requires intention. It's not recklessness, it's deliberate stretching. You don't dive into chaos for no reason. You pick challenges that align with who you want to become. If you want strength at work, you take on projects beyond your current skill. If you want deeper relationships, you lean into difficult conversations. If you want emotional strength, you step into situations where staying calm is the only option. Each of these choices feels heavy, but each expands your limits. Pressure also awakens creativity. When time is short, when resources are low, when obstacles block your path, the mind searches for new solutions. It innovates. It imagines. It discovers strategies you never would have found in comfort. History proves this. Many of humanity's greatest breakthroughs were born out of hardship, not ease. Mental toughness is another gift of pressure. Most people wait for ideal conditions. They say, I'll try when I'm ready. I'll begin when things calm down. But waiting never strengthens you. Facing pressure when conditions are imperfect, that is what forges grit. And grit is what allows you to keep moving when everyone else quits. Courage also lives here. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's movement in spite of it. Pressure is the call that pulls courage out of hiding. Without pressure, courage sleeps. With pressure, courage wakes. And once you've acted with courage, your limits expand forever. You cannot go back to the smaller version of yourself. But beware. The voice in your head under pressure will try to convince you to stop. It will say, "This is too much. You can't handle it. You should quit." That voice is not truth. It's fear. If you listen, you shrink. If you override it with words like, "I will keep going. I am stronger than I feel. One more step, one more try," then you grow. Self-talk is the difference between pressure breaking you and pressure building you. Humility also grows here. Challenging yourself under pressure shows you that you are not perfect. You will fail. You will stumble. You will fall short. But humility is strength, not weakness. Keeps you learning. Every mistake becomes a lesson. Every setback becomes a stepping stone. Failure stops being a verdict, it becomes a teacher. Confidence is the byproduct of this process. Every time you push through something that once intimidated you, confidence expands. Not fake confidence. Not bravado. Real confidence, the kind built on experience. You begin to believe not because someone told you, but because you've proven it to yourself. You've lived it. You've seen yourself grow under weight. That kind of confidence can't be faked, and it can't be taken away. So how do you challenge yourself under pressure in practical ways? Start small. Pick one area where you normally give up early, and go a little further. If you stop your workout when you're tired, add 5 more minutes. If you quit a task when it gets frustrating, push for 1 more hour. Each time you go further, you expand your limits. Seek challenges on purpose. Don't wait for life to bring them. Sign up for the presentation. Take the risk in business. Learn the new skill. Volunteer for the responsibility that makes you nervous. Place yourself in situations where pressure forces growth. Do it deliberately, and your limits will expand even faster. Remember, pressure is temporary. Feels unbearable in the moment, but it passes. The strength you build from it, however, is permanent. The discomfort fades, but the resilience, the courage, the confidence, it all stays. That's why pressure is priceless. It offers short-term pain in exchange for long-term growth. The truth is, the limits you believe in today are not the limits of your future. Pressure is the hammer that breaks down walls built by fear and doubt. But you must choose to use it. No one can push you through your own limits but you. Every time you face pressure, you get the chance to discover the larger, freer version of yourself waiting on the other side. So the next time the weight feels too heavy, remind yourself, this is not the end. This is the stretch. This is where growth hides. Step into it. Lean forward. Push one step further than you want to. Because on the other side of that choice is proof that your limits were never fixed. They were waiting to be expanded. There are times in life when the weight feels unbearable. Responsibilities stack like bricks on your back. Bills, deadlines, expectations, and problems pile until you feel crushed under the load. In those moments, the natural instinct is to freeze, to run, or to break down. But here
lies one of life's greatest truths: overwhelming weight is the perfect ground for courage to be born. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is forward motion despite fear. And nothing awakens courage like pressure that leaves you no choice but to act. Light pressure doesn't demand courage. You can avoid it, delay it, ignore it. But when the weight grows so heavy that staying still is no longer an option, courage is forced to the surface. It appears not because you wanted it, but because the weight required it. Think about your past. Remember a time when you didn't know how you would make it through. Maybe it was financial strain, maybe the loss of someone you loved, maybe the risk of failure staring you in the face. Fear was there. Doubt was loud. Yet somehow, you acted. Maybe you trembled, maybe you weren't sure, but you moved anyway. That moment wasn't weakness. That was courage in disguise. And once you act with courage under weight, you never forget it. Here is the secret: courage isn't revealed before the weight, it is revealed under it. You don't wait to feel brave and then act, you act first, and courage arrives. Overwhelming pressure strips away hesitation. It removes the illusion of perfect timing. When the load is heavy enough, you either collapse or you move. And in that movement, courage is born. Pressure also clarifies what matters. When you carry weight, you stop wasting energy on trivial things. Suddenly, your focus sharpens. You see priorities clearly. The noise falls away. The burden forces you to act with precision. Courage is not just raw strength, it is directed energy. It is bold action aimed at what matters most. But pressure can also paralyze. The fear of making the wrong move can freeze you in place. Your mind races with what ifs. What if I fail? What if I look foolish? What if it gets worse? But bold action is not about eliminating uncertainty. It's about moving anyway. You silence fear by doing. Every step you take, no matter how small, proves that fear was exaggerating the threat. Think of the walls in your life, the ones that look solid, immovable, impossible. Overwhelming pressure forces you to lean on those walls, to test them. And you discover many of them aren't walls at all, they're illusions built by fear. They crumble the moment you push. That's what bold action under pressure does, it exposes limits as lies. And courage is contagious. When you act under weight, others see it. They see you moving when quitting would have been easier. They see you choosing boldness when retreat was safer. And your example sparks courage in them. One act of boldness can ripple into dozens. Your courage is never just for you, it becomes a light for others. There's something else pressure does, it builds identity. Every time you act boldly while carrying a heavy load, you send a message to yourself, I am someone who doesn't quit. I am someone who moves forward, no matter what. Over time, this identity takes root. Courage stops being something you summon occasionally, it becomes who you are. And remember this, courage doesn't always look loud. It doesn't always mean standing on a stage, leading an army, or making headlines. Sometimes it looks quiet. Courage is waking up one more day when everything in you wants to stay in bed. Courage is speaking the truth in a room full of silence. Courage is saying no when everyone expects you to say yes. Courage is moving forward in small steps, even when the path is unclear. But courage is also discipline. You train it like a muscle. The more you practice small acts of boldness, the stronger it grows. Speaking up when your voice shakes prepares you for leadership when the stakes are higher. Making one difficult decision today prepares you for bigger ones tomorrow. Each act of courage compounds into a life of strength. Overwhelming weight is also a mirror. It reveals the fears that still control you. It shows you where hesitation still lingers. It surfaces the insecurities you've been avoiding. That awareness is a gift, because you cannot defeat what you don't confront. When pressure reveals your fears, you get the chance to face them head-on and shrink their power. Courage under pressure is not reckless impulse. It is intentional boldness. It doesn't mean running blindly. It means saying, this weight will not define me. This challenge will not own me. Then taking the next step forward, no matter how small. Because small steps stack. One action becomes 2. 2 become 10. Soon the load that once felt unbearable is being carried by momentum. Pressure also humbles you. It strips away the illusion of control. It reminds you that you can't predict everything, can't plan everything, can't protect yourself from every storm. But in that humility, courage becomes easier. You realize you don't need to be perfect to be brave. You just need to be willing. A practical way to turn overwhelming weight into courage is to reframe your story. Instead of saying, this weight will crush me, say, this weight will reveal me. Instead of saying, I can't do this, say, I will discover how to do this. The story you tell yourself doesn't remove the load, but it changes how you carry it. Another way is to break the weight into smaller steps. Looking at the whole burden at once is overwhelming. But if you ask, what can I do today? What can I do in the next hour? The load becomes manageable. Courage grows one small act at a time. And don't forget, avoidance feeds fear, but action starves it. Every time you run from what scares you, it grows larger. Every time you face it, it shrinks. Pressure forces you into contact with your fears. Use that as practice. Each time you confront fear directly, you weaken its grip on your life. The reward of courage is freedom. Fear is a prison, and courage is the key. Every act of boldness under pressure breaks a chain. It gives you freedom to live fully, to pursue your dreams, to stand in your truth. That kind of freedom cannot be given by anyone, it is earned by facing pressure and acting anyway. And once you've acted courageously under weight, you carry that memory forever. The next time life feels impossible, you can look back and say, I handled it then. I can handle it now. That memory is armor. It gives you unshakable confidence, not based on theory, but on experience. So understand this, life will not always feel light. There will be seasons when everything seems too heavy. But those seasons will define you. They will refine you. They will reveal the boldest, strongest version of yourself. The weight may press down, but it also pushes you up, if you choose to rise. So the challenge is simple, though never easy. When the weight arrives, don't collapse. Don't run. Don't freeze. Stand. Move. Act. Even trembling, even uncertain, take the next step. Because courage is not waiting for fear to disappear. Courage is moving anyway. Every act of boldness under pressure shapes you into someone unshakable. And one day, you'll look back and realize the overwhelming weight you once feared became the very thing that built your most courageous self. Pressure has a strange way of exposing you, not only to yourself but to the world. It strips away the masks, the carefully polished appearances, the illusion that everything is fine. When pressure mounts, people reveal their truest selves. Some crack, some quit, some lash out, while others rise, steady themselves, and move forward with calm strength. Pressure is the stage where authenticity is tested. Most of the time, we live behind layers. We say what's expected, we do what feels safe, we project confidence even when we're unsure. But under pressure, those layers peel back. Your real character comes to the surface. If patience is weak, pressure shows it. If honesty is shaky, pressure exposes it. If determination is shallow, pressure reveals it. But here's the beauty, this is not just exposure, it is opportunity. Once you see your cracks, you can strengthen them. Once you know your weak spots, you can fortify them. This is why pressure is priceless. It forces you to confront the gap between who you think you are and who you truly are. Without that confrontation, you remain blind. Pressure makes sure you can't ignore reality. It holds up a mirror, sharp and unfiltered. That mirror can feel harsh, but it is also the most honest feedback you'll ever receive. Pressure also reveals values. When the storm hits, what do you protect first? Do you guard your ego or your integrity? Do you cling to comfort or hold to conviction? Do you hide behind lies or stand in truth, even when it costs you? Under weight, values become visible. And once you see them clearly, you can choose, reinforce them or replace them. The world also sees you more clearly under pressure. People are watching, not just in moments of success, but in moments of struggle. Do you stay calm when everything falls apart? Do you speak with respect when stress is high? Do you keep promises when keeping them hurts? Or do you collapse, blame, and complain? Pressure doesn't just build your reputation, it reveals it. And reputations built under fire are the ones people trust most. Think of leaders. True leadership is not proven when things are smooth. Anyone can look strong when the seas are calm. Real leadership shows up in storms, when the team is scared, when the outcome is uncertain, when mistakes threaten everything. In those moments, followers don't just listen to what leaders say, they watch who they are. Pressure strips away performance and forces authenticity. If you are genuine, steady, and strong, people know. They feel it. And they follow. Pressure also forces alignment. If your words and actions don't match, pressure will expose the gap. You can talk about discipline all day, but if you crumble under responsibility, the truth shows. You can post about patience, but if you explode under stress, the mask falls. You can preach about resilience, but if you quit when tested, people see through you. Pressure has no patience for hypocrisy. It demands alignment between what you say and what you do. This is why authenticity is born in difficulty. Easy times let you hide. Hard times force you to reveal. And the more often you choose to be authentic under weight, the stronger your character becomes. You no longer waste energy pretending. You stop living for appearances. You become free, free to be real, free to stand on truth, free to live in alignment. Pressure also tests relationships. When you are underweight, you quickly discover who is real. Some will distance themselves when you struggle. Others will stand closer. Some will criticize from a distance. Others will quietly support. Pressure removes the fake and reveals the loyal. And in that process, your circle becomes sharper, truer, more trustworthy. But authenticity under pressure requires courage. It is easier to fake calm than to be vulnerable. It is easier to pretend everything is fine than to admit you're struggling. But when you choose honesty, even in stress, you gain something deeper: trust. People trust authenticity more than perfection. They don't need you flawless, they need you real. And pressure is where realness is born. There's another layer: pressure not only reveals character, it shapes it. If you face pressure with awareness, each test makes you stronger. The first time you crack, you learn humility. The second time, you adjust your response. The third time, you hold steady. Slowly, pressure reshapes you into someone who no longer breaks as easily. You are not only revealing character, you are refining it. So how do you use pressure as a tool for authenticity? First, stop running from it. When life presses down, don't distract yourself with noise. Don't numb yourself with escapes. Face it. Let it reveal you. Second, observe yourself honestly. How do you respond under stress? What words leave your mouth? What habits show up? Don't judge, just notice. Awareness is the first step to growth. Third, align your response with your values. If honesty matters, speak truth even when it costs you. If patience matters, breathe before reacting. If resilience matters, stay the course even when you want to quit. Pressure is the test. Passing it means living your values when it's hardest. Fourth, strengthen your weak spots. If pressure shows you lack discipline, build routines. If it shows you lack calm, train your breathing and reflection. If it shows you lack resilience, start with smaller tests and build capacity. Every crack can be reinforced. Finally, embrace vulnerability. You don't need to be unshakable all the time. Authenticity means admitting when you're afraid but choosing to act anyway. It means saying, I don't have all the answers, but I'm still moving forward. People respect that more than a mask of perfection. Understand this: pressure will always come. You cannot control when, where, or how. But you can control who you become in it. You can let it break you into someone fake, or you can let it shape you into someone authentic, someone real, someone trusted. And when authenticity and strength meet under pressure, something powerful happens. You no longer fear the storms. You welcome them. Because you know each one will not only reveal who you are, it will make you more of who you're meant to be. Every human being has scars. Some are visible, some are hidden deep inside, but they all come from the same source: struggles that tested us in ways we never expected. Struggles arrive uninvited. They don't knock politely at your door, they break in, disrupt your plans, shake your certainty, and leave you wondering if you can endure. And while no one asks for struggle, it has a strange purpose: it refines. It is the furnace that strips away weakness, sharpens character, and reveals who you really are. When you think back on your life, it's rarely the easy seasons that shaped you the most. Comfort may have given you rest, but it was the struggles that gave you growth. Those nights you couldn't sleep because the future felt uncertain. Those moments when money ran out, when relationships broke down, when opportunities vanished. In those times, you weren't just surviving, you were being shaped. Struggle wasn't destroying you. It was refining you. The mistake many people make is believing struggle is punishment. They complain, "Why me? Why now?" But struggle is not punishment. It is preparation. It is the training ground where strength is built. Without resistance, muscles stay weak. Without challenge, the mind stays shallow. Without hardship, character stays fragile. Struggles strip away illusions. In easy times, you can convince yourself you are patient, disciplined, resilient. But it's only when things get hard that those qualities are proven. Struggle asks the question, are your values real, or are they just words? If you say you value honesty, struggle will test you when lying looks easier. If you say you value persistence, struggle will test you when quitting looks tempting. If you say you value kindness, struggle will test you when you're frustrated and tired. Each decision in those moments carves into your character. Do you take the shortcut, or do you hold to integrity? Do you quit when tired, or do you press forward? Every choice under struggle is like a chisel shaping who you are becoming. And over time, those chisels create depth, strength, and authenticity. Another gift of struggle is humility. Struggles remind you that you are not in control of everything. They strip away arrogance. They whisper, "You're not invincible, you still have more to learn." Humility isn't weakness. It's strength. Because when you're humble, you stay open to growth. You ask for help when you need it. You admit mistakes. You learn. And that humility, born in struggle, makes your character real, grounded, and relatable. Struggles also give you empathy. When you've carried pain, you see the pain of others more clearly. You no longer judge as quickly. You no longer dismiss others' battles. You understand. And that understanding makes you a better friend, a better leader, a better human. Empathy doesn't come from textbooks, it comes from walking through fire and realizing others walk through their own. But perhaps the most important thing about struggle is this: it gives you choice. Struggles are unavoidable, but the outcome is not predetermined. Struggle itself doesn't make you stronger or weaker. Your response does. Some people collapse under weight, grow bitter, and let pain define them. Others lean in, learn, and let pain refine them. Both faced the same struggle, but their choices shaped two completely different futures. So, how do you transform struggles into lessons that refine character? First, change your perspective. Stop seeing struggles as obstacles only. See them as opportunities. Instead of saying, "This is ruining me," say, "This is shaping me." The pain may still hurt, but the purpose becomes visible. Purpose gives endurance. Second, ask better questions. Don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What can I learn?" Don't say, "This is too much." Ask, "How can this make me stronger?" Better questions open the mind to better answers. Third, practice reflection. Too many people rush out of struggles and forget the lessons. But wisdom is only gained when you pause and reflect. Write down what the struggle taught you, about yourself, about others, about life. Reflection turns pain into wisdom, and wisdom refines character. Fourth, embrace gratitude. It may sound impossible in pain, but gratitude is a weapon. When you're struggling, gratitude shifts your focus. You stop obsessing over what you lost and start noticing what you still have. Gratitude born in struggle is deeper than gratitude in comfort. It makes you strong, not shallow. Fifth, carry courage. Struggles often look like failure, but failure is not final. Failure is feedback. Each time you fail and rise again, courage grows. The next time fear comes, you remember your scars, your survival, your growth. And you say, "I've been through worse. I can handle this." That courage becomes part of your identity. Struggles also test responsibility. They force you to own your actions, your choices, your mistakes. It's easy to blame others. But character grows when you say, "This is on me. And I will grow from it." That ownership builds integrity, integrity that cannot be faked because it was earned in fire. And here's the powerful part, your struggles don't just refine you. They inspire others. People are not moved by perfect lives. They're moved by scars. They're moved by authenticity. When others see that you've faced hardship, learned, and come out stronger, they gain hope. Your story becomes proof that pain doesn't have to destroy, it can transform. So the next time life tests you, pause before you complain. Ask yourself, is this the obstacle that will define me, or is this the fire that will refine me? The choice is yours. Every struggle carries a lesson. Every lesson refines character. And every refined character becomes a light to others. Remember this, comfort will not shape you. Struggles will. Comfort gives you ease. Struggles give you depth. Comfort builds habits of convenience. Struggles build habits of resilience. And in the end, it is not the easy years that tell your story, it is the hard ones. It is the battles you fought, the lessons you learned, and the strength you earned when no one was watching. If you learn to transform your struggles into lessons, you will live differently. You won't see yourself as a victim of circumstance, but as a student of life. You won't carry scars as shame, but as proof of growth. And you won't just survive hardship, you'll be refined by it into someone wiser, stronger, and unshakable. There is a special kind of strength that doesn't show in comfort, doesn't shine in ease, and doesn't see. Ream in success. It is the strength of endurance, of carrying weight without losing your way. Anyone can smile when skies are clear. Anyone can stay motivated when progress is fast. But endurance shows up when the road gets steep, the load feels unbearable, and every step takes effort. Endurance is the quiet force that whispers, keep going. Pressure, by its very nature, tests your ability to endure. It is not about sprinting through challenges, it is about holding steady when life feels like a marathon uphill. Some people break under that pressure because they confuse endurance with speed. They think progress must be fast to matter. But endurance teaches the opposite, progress that is steady, even if painfully slow, is what creates unshakable strength. When pressure rises, the temptation is to scatter. Your mind races, your emotions pull you in every direction, and suddenly you feel like you're drowning in tasks and expectations. This scatter drains energy faster than the weight itself. Endurance requires clarity. It requires you to ask, what truly matters right now? What is my direction? What am I unwilling to compromise? Once those answers are clear, the noise fades. You can carry the weight without losing sight of where you're headed. Think of the strongest people in history. They were not the ones who avoided pressure, but the ones who carried it with direction. They had vision, values, and purpose. Pressure could bend them, but it could not break them, because their roots were deep. Without direction, weight crushes you. With direction, the same weight strengthens you. Endurance also teaches patience. Most people want instant relief. The moment pressure arrives, they panic, looking for shortcuts or escapes. But shortcuts collapse character. Real endurance says, I may not reach the top today, but I will keep walking. I will not trade my future for momentary relief. That patience is not passive, it's active persistence. It is steady progress when everything in you screams to quit. Pressure will always test your pace. Some days you'll move fast. Some days you'll barely crawl. But endurance is not about how quickly you move. It's about refusing to stop. Even the smallest step keeps momentum alive. A single sentence written, a single workout completed, a single promise kept, these small acts of faithfulness matter. They remind you that progress is possible even under weight. Another truth about endurance under pressure is that it refines your priorities. When life feels heavy, you realize you cannot carry everything. You are forced to let go of what doesn't serve your direction. Distractions fall away. What remains is essential. Pressure simplifies life. And in that simplicity, endurance becomes possible because your energy is invested where it counts. But endurance is not just about external action, it's about inner dialogue. When the load grows heavy, the voice in your head will try to break you. It will say, "This is too much. You can't do this. You should give up." If you feed that voice, you lose direction. But if you answer it with truth, remind yourself why you started, remind yourself of past victories, remind yourself that this moment is temporary, you silence doubt. The mind becomes your ally instead of your enemy. Comparison is another trap that destroys endurance. When under pressure, it's tempting to look at others who seem to be moving faster, carrying less, or succeeding sooner. But comparison drains energy. Endurance requires focus on your own path, your own pace. The weight you carry is uniquely shaping you. If you stay faithful, you'll discover strengths others never will, because they never carried what you carried. Another secret of endurance is rhythm. Endurance is not about grinding endlessly until you collapse. It is about knowing when to press hard and when to rest. Rest is not retreat, it is recovery. The strongest endure because they know how to pause without quitting. They breathe, they reset, and then they continue. This rhythm ensures you don't burn out before you reach the finish. Endurance also demands humility. It teaches you that you can't do everything, control everything, or win everything overnight. But humility is not defeat, it is wisdom. It keeps you grounded. It reminds you that the weight you carry is shaping you, not crushing you. And humility keeps you open to growth along the way. So how do you endure pressure without losing direction? First, protect clarity. Write down your purpose, your values, your non-negotiables. When pressure clouds your mind, return to them. Second, focus on small steps. Don't let the mountain intimidate you. Take the step in front of you. Small progress compounds into great distance. Third, control your inner voice. Replace defeat with determination. Speak truth over fear. Fourth, release what doesn't matter. When weight increases, let go of distractions. Invest only in what aligns with your purpose. Fifth, embrace rhythm. Push when you can, rest when you must, but never stop completely. And finally, remember, endurance is not glamorous. It happens in the shadows, when no one is watching, when recognition is absent. But that is where real strength is built. Later, when the results show, people will call you strong, not realizing the strength was forged in unseen endurance. The reward of endurance is perspective. Once you've carried heavy loads and remained steady, you see life differently. Small annoyances don't break you. Temporary setbacks don't derail you. You realize storms are not permanent, they pass. And what remains is the strength you built while walking through them. In the end, to rise stronger under pressure means to endure without losing direction. To bend but not break. To slow but not stop. To struggle but never quit. That is the kind of strength the world respects, not loud, not flashy, but authentic and unshakable. So when the pressure of life presses hard, don't scatter. Don't lose your way. Anchor yourself in purpose, focus on what matters, and keep moving. You may stumble, you may crawl, but if you keep your direction, you will rise stronger than ever before. Identity is the core of who you are. It's not just your name, your job title, or the roles you play, it's the unshakable truth that guides how you think, act, and respond to life. The challenge is that most people live with fragile identities. They believe they know who they are until life applies pressure. And when the storms come, their sense of self begins to fracture. That is why pressure is not just something you survive, it is the tool that shapes your lasting, unbreakable identity. Pressure does not ask for permission. It doesn't arrive at convenient times. It comes uninvited, constant, and relentless. But that consistency is what makes it such a powerful sculptor. Every wave of pressure strips away what is shallow, weak, or false. It removes masks, illusions, and temporary labels until only what is real remains. And what is real, what is proven through fire, becomes the bedrock of your identity. There's a difference between identity shaped in comfort and identity shaped in struggle. Comfort builds habits of convenience. Struggle builds habits of resilience. Comfort creates labels that impress others. Struggle creates qualities that cannot be taken away. Comfort feeds your ego. Struggle feeds your authenticity. When you allow pressure to shape your identity, you stop being defined by what you have or what people think. You are defined by who you've proven yourself to be when tested. Many people build their identity on external things, success, applause, possessions, or relationships. But all of those can disappear in a moment. The applause can stop. The possessions can vanish. The status can be stripped away. And if your identity rests on those, you will collapse with them. But when your identity is forged under pressure, rooted in perseverance, courage, and conviction, no storm can take it from you. You carry it within you. Unbreakable identity is not about pretending to be flawless. Pressure exposes your flaws, your fears, your insecurities. But when you face them instead of hiding, when you grow through them instead of denying, you no longer need to fake strength. You become authentic. And authenticity lasts longer than any image. People may admire perfection for a moment, but they trust authenticity forever. Pressure also engraves values into your identity. It's easy to say you value honesty, discipline, or courage when nothing challenges you. But when pressure demands shortcuts, when fear whispers compromise, when anger tempts retaliation, that's when values become real. Every choice under pressure carves those values deeper into your identity until they are no longer optional. They become part of who you are. When you allow pressure to shape your identity, you gain stability. Circumstances can change. People can walk away. Opportunities can vanish. But your core stays firm. You know who you are, and that knowledge anchors you in chaos. It silences doubt. It gives you confidence not based on luck or approval, but on proven strength. This process takes time. Just like stone is shaped by waves over years, identity is shaped by repeated seasons of pressure. Each challenge leaves a mark. Some scars hurt, but scars are not signs of weakness, they are proof of survival. They remind you, I have been tested, and I am still here. Over time, those scars build a story of resilience, and that story becomes part of your identity. There's also freedom in unbreakable identity. Once you know who you are, external opinions lose their power. Criticism doesn't shake you. Praise doesn't control you. Pressure has already tested you, so you no longer need validation. You don't live for approval, you live by conviction. That freedom is rare, and it is priceless. Unbreakable identity also makes you consistent. You're not one person today and another tomorrow. You are steady, reliable, predictable in the best way. People know where you stand. They know your word means something. They know your actions match your values. That consistency builds trust, and trust multiplies your influence. And here's something powerful: when pressure shapes identity, it doesn't just change you, it changes those around you. People are inspired by your steadiness. They find hope in your resilience. They draw courage from your authenticity. Your life becomes a message, louder than words: strength is possible. Integrity is possible. Growth is possible. So how do you allow pressure to shape lasting identity? First, stop running from it. Discomfort is not the enemy. Let it expose what's weak so you can strengthen it. Second, define your values clearly. Decide now who you are when tested. And when pressure comes, hold to those values at all costs. Third, reflect often. Don't just survive storms, study them. Ask, what did this reveal about me? What did this shape in me? Reflection turns pain into identity. Fourth, embrace scars. Stop hiding the marks of struggle. They are proof of your endurance, evidence of your strength, and part of your story. Finally, live with conviction. Once pressure has proven your character, stop seeking approval. Stand in who you are. Speak with integrity. Act with courage. Live with authenticity. In the end, your identity will not be remembered by the easy seasons. People will not recall how comfortable your life looked. They will remember how you stood when everything shook. They will remember how you endured when others quit. They will remember the authenticity you carried, the resilience you showed, and the strength you embodied. That is the gift of pressure. It may press you, stretch you, and scar you. But if you allow it, pressure will also define you. It will strip away the false and leave behind what is true. It will shape an identity that cannot be broken, cannot be stolen, and cannot be destroyed. So when life presses hard again, do not hide. Do not resist. Lean in. Let pressure do its work. Let it strip, shape, and strengthen. Because on the other side, you will rise, not fragile, not temporary, not uncertain, but solid, steady, and unshakable. And from that place, you will live a life of clarity, confidence, and purpose that no pressure will ever take from you.